Hi, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Green Dragon Podcast. This is podcast, I think we're at 52 now.
All right.
I feel like we've skipped a week or two, and I think the reason it feels like that is we had Thanksgiving week, and we posted a recording that we already had in the bank. And then last week, we had a great podcast last week, but it didn't feel normal because I was recording out of a hotel room. I was also fearful for my life because we were recording a podcast about corruption at the border, and I was across the border, so that made me feel real good.
You were just waiting for that knock at the door.
Yeah, I was
the
just
Mounties outside breaking it down.
hey, it would have been interesting. So that one felt, I haven't been in the home studio for a few weeks. I was gone, so it's weird to be sitting in front. It feels like a while since I've been sitting in front of the desk with the monitors and recording a podcast here. But
yeah, it's been a minute since an actual in the news one too. I feel like we've the last few have all been special podcasts.
When was the last in the news podcast we did?
I feel like it had to be about. I know it was before Thanksgiving.
A month ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we had our football one, I think, the week before Thanksgiving. So actually, it's been probably over a month now.
The football episode. We'll maybe we'll do a follow-up or something to that one. Maybe we'll do
I don't know how fun it was for the listeners, but I had fun on it.
Me and Jake had a great time. It was a great podcast. Maybe we'll do like a sports, one of these podcasts, we'll do a sports podcast.
Maybe a pre New Year's Six Bowl podcast.
Yeah. You can get the hottest sports takes from the Green Dragon Media. We'll come at you with the latest and greatest in sports.
Forget Pat McAfee and Stephen A. Smith. This is where it's at.
Yeah, we're the top tier. We're the top tier of entertainment. Me and Jake leading a sports podcast. What could be better? Speaking of sports, we're going to do a little in the news today, folks. A little in the news. We're going to cover the latest and greatest, what's been going on over the past few weeks while we've been, I shouldn't say missing because we haven't been missing, but while we haven't been covering in the news topics, since we're on this topic of sports, let's just get started with sports. Did either of you guys see this, video of this Kansas City Chiefs fan, and they were apparently saying that this kid did blackface? He was dressed up as like a I guess like a chief.
Yeah, it was Indian double chief. Blackface on one side, red face on the other.
Right, and apparently it was taken out of context, and they were saying all these terrible things.
Of course, it was Deadspin that broke the story. Doesn't surprise me.
No, I know. So I guess we could pull it up for those. I've got a little video here. We'll just watch part of it. I don't really need to listen to whatever his name, Jesse from Fox News, for too long, but but here, I'll share this clip real quick. Yes. Can you guys see that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
I always get Ross in America. Friends vibes from Jesse.
I do. You get, Ross from Friends. That's a good one, Jake. I like that. Let me know if you guys can hear this. Again, I'm having sound issues on my end. I can't hear what's happening. Why is that? Does anybody know why?
Yeah, it was weird because when it was rolling, I could hear it for a second there.
A young Kansas City Chiefs fan.
Why can't I hear it? This is interesting. Give me a second here, folks. The question is, where's my sound going to? Okay, well, I'm gonna throw in the subtitles just so I can see what's happening, and then
9-year-old in America. A young Kansas City Chiefs fan dressed up for a game against the Raiders. All he did was everything that diehard fans do. He painted his face, threw on the headgear, and went to the stadium with his family. No different than what you see every weekend in Arrowhead and Vegas and Pittsburgh. But male Karen at Deadspin only showed half his face, the black half, and accused the 9-year-old of wearing blackface. Quote, he found a way to hate black people and Native Americans at the same time. And the media piled on.
The kid is still in full racist garb.
I love how they blurred the image. Like it's a dead body or something.
The only part of him that's not intentionally kind of racist is the black part. The rest is team colors, and he's going for just being a fan. But the racism is already in there, just not the kind that the right is picking up and flogging Deadspin with over a 5-year-old kid. Like, the stupidity of this is remarkable.
It feels like we're in the Vegas residency phase of racism.
And that guy, Dan Le Batard, who accused the 9-year-old of racism, wore the exact same.
Anyways, I don't know what you guys think about it. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't surprise me that it was Deadspin. Like I said, I mean, they've shown them in the mainstream media have showed they're not above trying to ruin the lives of kids.
Yeah, but it's like who reads that article and it's like, oh yeah, that kid's a racist, you know?
Which is, yeah, exactly. That's what really disappointed me was how many people that I know personally just took that story and ran with it. Like,
I know, right? You're seeing like 22-year-olds be like, fuck this kid. This kid's terrible. This kid hates black people. You know, all that.
It's like you don't have anything better to do with your life than to
it's like clearly he was just having a
9-year-old kid.
Yeah, clearly he was just having fun. Like,
yeah.
He was dressing up for his team.
Even if it was something offensive, it's like it's a 9-year-old kid. Is he really is he really out to go offend everyone or be racist or whatever else they want to label him? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think it's just, I saw it and I was like, come on, we're really doing this. We're really doing this.
The thing was, I thought cancel culture was on its last legs after the last few incidents like this that have been exposed as being total hoaxes, really, on the part of the media. Yeah. I kind of thought that a lot of people, both left and right, were just moving past that whole cancel culture rage that's been going on for probably most of this past decade.
Yeah.
But that just showed me that it's all still alive and kicking.
Yep. There's still people with nothing to do out there that want to be outraged over something stupid.
Exactly. So yeah, more just disappointment than anything else is what I feel towards that.
I know. It was disappointment, you know. I hope the kid got some free
how
cheap.
they go after the kid too, like, it's a kid, like, he's not like it seems like he would have like, if you're gonna go after people, actually go to somebody who's, you know, an adult. Like, don't try to go after kids. Like, it reminds me of that time with that one guy yelling at that kid. Remember in DC, I think it was. Do you remember that?
Oh, Sandman, right?
Oh,
Sandman. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, similar to that.
Crazy stuff.
And then the whole media outfit piles on. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But that's thankfully, well, and I don't know if you guys saw, but it turned out that the kid's actually Native American as well.
That's even better. Oh, really?
Yeah. He went on. So after, I think that's like the older clip of the Jesse Waters one. I think the next day he brought the kid and his dad onto his show and interviewed them. And it turns out the kid's grandfather works on a reservation actually and is part of the tribe.
That's hilarious. I mean, that's hilarious. That that just shows you how little investigation there is on these things.
Yeah. Yeah, so that one, I mean, like if it weren't for that, I feel like people would still be talking about it, kind of blasting this
Right.
kid for the supposed racist act.
Talk about karma.
Exactly. It always seems to bite him in the back.
Yeah. I wonder what it's the Chiefs. I wonder what yeah, I didn't see anything from Taylor Swift or Travis Kelce about this incident.
See, that's the other thing that was
Mhm.
disappointing to me. I was hoping some of the players would reach out, and maybe
I
they
know.
did privately, I don't know, but there was
Yeah.
no public statement of support for
Well,
this kid from any of them.
well, they were the last team to pull end racism out of their end zone, so
That is true. Yeah,
I feel
I
like
guess
they'd
I
be the
should.
last to bring it up.
Should not have expected anything less, I guess.
Yeah.
But it is funny when you think about you've got Justin Trudeau, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, Robert Downey Jr., all who used blackface at some point in the past.
Right.
No one cares about that at all. We'll go after a little kid.
Seems about right. Seems about right. Yeah.
But
I don't know.
thankfully, that story seems to have dissipated
It's
now that we know
quieted
about his
down.
heritage.
Yeah, it's quieted down. I bet though, one person I bet that's done blackface that we haven't seen the picture surface, and I think we will be seeing it soon. Biden. I feel like there's a Biden blackface photo out there.
I
You've got
bet.
Trudeau. You're telling me you've got Trudeau and you don't have Biden?
Yeah,
Dude's
maybe.
been around for a millennium. I mean, like, there's no way he didn't participate. So that was my next piece. So he turned 81. Good old Biden is 81 years old, had his birthday, I don't know, a week or so ago, I think. But first of all, like, the fact we have an 81-year-old president should not be a thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That needs to be stopped.
Yeah, it's like how many 81-year-olds do you know that are still working full time?
Yeah, not only that, but like have like all like there's some that are still sharp. I haven't met too
Right.
many that are, up for doing one of the most difficult jobs in the country. Like from like a stress level and like an ability to like make like decisions in key moments, and you put a little bit of pressure on them to like go get something. Most of them go get something from the grocery store and then like take their meds and they're freaking out. Which is what our president looks like. I mean, he functions like the average 81-year-old, if we're being honest here. But I guess my question to you, so they did a little poll on voters, right? And 76% of voters that they took at this people of voting age in this poll said they think he's too old. 50% of the people thought there should be a minimum age to be or a max and a minimum to be president. I think I put minimum on the doc, but I meant maximum. A maximum age to be president. And then they were polled on what the maximum age should be. So there's like 45% said under 70. I think 30% said 50 to 60 range. And then 80, like 20% of the voters said 80 was acceptable. So like under 80 was the max, essentially. What are you guys' thoughts on all of that? I have my opinions, but I'll let you guys go first. Do you think we need a cap?
It's tough to say. I think there are exceptions to the rule, like someone like RFK, I think he's only early 60s or mid 60s now, but he strikes me as someone who could probably, I don't know, similar to Trump, still be functioning probably for the next 15, 16 years or so. So it's like, for me, if you put a maximum in there, then you could be missing out on a good candidate, a qualified candidate, who may just not meet that age limit or age max. So I feel, but I do think maybe at some point, like 80. I'd probably be in the 20%. Let's say 80 would be the max.
I think that's fair. I think, yeah. Go, Tom. Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of with Jake because Winston Churchill was considered an older guy when he was the prime minister for England. And if it wasn't for him, we probably would have lost World War II. And so I don't know. I feel like maybe it should just be built on competence and health. Like, I mean, there's like such a stark difference between someone like, let's say, Warren Buffett and Biden. Like Warren Buffett's like 92, I think. You know? I'm pretty sure he's 92. But I mean, he's still talking and walking and seems like he's fine, at least physically. There's a few things messed up in the head, but everything else seems to be working okay. And then, like Trump seems to be very fit for his age. Like he just won the senior golf tournament, I think, a couple times, at least one time. And then, yeah, like Jake's talking about RFK, who seems very healthy for his age. So I don't know. I mean, like Grant Cardone, for instance, is like 64, 65 right now. And he has like more energy than most 30-year-olds. So I wonder if it's more like health and mental ability. But I feel
How
like
would
if
you
you,
guys measure that? Because there is
yeah,
quote health and mental ability checks, and our
yeah,
current president is passing those. Just so you guys know, he's doing great
yeah.
in there. He's passing with flying colors, and there's really no reason to worry about his health. So I
Well,
don't know.
maybe if they're actually true tests.
Yeah,
But
I think the trouble is the independent source.
yeah,
I think
Yeah.
too, like, I think once you're president, here's, I think one of the biggest issues is I think, and this has always been the case, if you look back historically across presidents never resign if they have a decline in health, really. It's always
true.
it's always hidden because that's seen as a weakness from our enemies. And so even if you've got a guy that's been in for 2 years, but all of a sudden he's like schizophrenic and like seriously like a problem, JFK, you know, they
Yeah,
won't remove him due to I mean, he'll always pass the health reasons, it's just one of those things. It's tough. Like, what do you do? Like, how do you set that in place? Because I think like people are, I don't know, like there's definitely a lot of people, especially after all this, are like, can we just get like somebody young in there? And I understand the sentiment that's like, how do we find young people that aren't, indoctrinated into the political like system, right?
yeah,
I don't know. It's tough because the longer people are in politics too, the worse they typically are. So if you're getting a 75-year-old president, the chances of him, if he's been around the block, the chances of him being corrupt are like 10 times higher than a dude that's like 45, right?
yeah,
or 50. So it's one of those, and it's just like disheartening that the leader of your country is like 15 years away. If he's 75-year-old, 15 years away from probably death. Like,
that's true.
that's the peak of your leadership in your country. Some old man that you throw up there.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know, it's just
No.
kind of depressing.
And to your point, Aiden, you've only got 15 years left at max.
Right.
You're probably not likely to care about what comes after either.
Exactly. And I think that's the sentiment a lot of people have, is like, especially the young people, they're like, what does this 82-year-old, why would he care about my well-being in 30 years?
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't care about me retiring. He just wants to make it through his 4 to 8 years without any issues that are gonna put him into the history books as a bad president. He just wants to
Exactly.
make it out unscathed and then sail off for another 6 years before his death.
Yeah, I think that someone like, not that he would be my preferred candidate, but somebody Vivek's age that, like, let's say he wins out, has a miracle, beats Trump and Biden. he's got, what is he? I think he's 38. He'll be 46. Let's say he wins 2 terms max. He'll be 46 by the time he's out of office. He's probably going to want to stay involved afterwards. And like how well he does in his presidency will determine his credibility after that. So it's like he's going to have a vested interest then in how he runs the country, even if like he may not care at all about the people, but he's going to want to do a good job if he wants to stay relevant after that.
Yeah, and I guess you could also make the argument on the other side that somebody that comes in with more experience is going to be a better leader. It goes both ways, but I think it's an interesting conversation because I think like right now it's at the it's kind of highlighted just because of our good old Biden. The age discussion is a big topic. So how do you kind of make sure you don't get another one of him? I don't know. The correct way to do it is have better screening, but what do you exclude? Yeah, what do you exclude them from, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, it's almost
impossible.
So tough. There's such a wide range of what type of 81-year-old you're talking about. Like someone like we talked about, like Ronald Reagan, I think was 81 by the time he was out of office, and he was still functioning just as well, if not better than he was at 8 years previous. But then contrast that with Biden, or like you said, any other 81-year-old, you know, he's probably doing better than average. So there I mean, it all depends on the person really at the end of the day. Their health, their genetics, everything really. There's just so much to take into account there.
Everything. No, definitely. So we'll see. Is there anything new on the election front that we should be talking about? I haven't been keeping up with it, to be honest with you.
I didn't pay much attention to it, but I saw there was that debate between DeSantis and Newsom.
Oh, yeah.
There's rumors that Newsom may be setting himself up for a presidential run. If not this cycle, then maybe the next one.
Really?
But he may, like, let's say if something happens to Biden before the election.
Before the election,
they know. I mean, realistically, I think everyone knows it's not going to be Kamala. I think we can all safely say that, or maybe not. Maybe if you guys don't think so,
I really
let me know. But
I really hope it's not. I'm praying to God
maybe that's wishful thinking on my part, but people are thinking that he's kind of the next in line, like he's the most presidential out of all. Any other Democrat you can think of that's got their foot in the race.
Yeah.
So so he's jockeying for position. If not this year, it's gonna be post Trump and Biden.
That'd be interesting.
Did you guys see that there's that court case right now with the Supreme Court ruling on evidence that's been destroyed about Trump during January 6th that may clear him of all the stuff they're trying to convict him for that?
Really? So where's this coming from?
I'm not sure where it came from, but the Supreme Court is looking into it. And if they rule in favor of like what's been shown, that the evidence has been destroyed, which means that they're trying to defame him and frame him essentially, they may open the door to help all the other January 6ers that have been imprisoned. Should be massive.
That's crazy. Where's it? Do you know where it's at in the judicial process right now? Like, is it just in review by the Supreme Court?
I think so. I overheard it, so I haven't looked into it myself, but I know it's being talked about.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, that would have massive implications on this election too, because I think it would push certain people one way for sure.
Have you guys seen those new videos that have come out since Mike Johnson released them?
I don't think so.
Oh, Yeah, they pretty much have all the videos now, like them being brought into the Capitol, people throwing them in. There's like videos of them throwing like concussion bombs into the crowds.
Oh wow.
There's like other like audio of like officers saying run in there, get in there, and so it's kind of opening the door to all of those what we knew was probably happened, and how it was kind of a setup job. But there's even videos of Trump supporters defending the police from Antifa. They were getting in front of Antifa to stop them from attacking all the police officers, which is pretty wild.
Interesting.
That is
Yeah,
interesting.
I'll have to monitor that, see where that goes.
That's
Hopefully
really,
they
yeah.
hopefully if that's all accurate, that'll be released into the mainstream here.
I hope so.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how the news outlets cover that when if it does break. And how what the response is.
Yeah, that'd be very interesting to see.
I'd be curious to see how the Democratic Party backpedals from that.
Yeah. I feel like it'll be how it always is. Just ignore that it ever happened.
Yeah, right.
They'll be like January 6th never happened.
Really.
Yeah, exactly.
What was that committee for again?
We don't know. We had one. Oh, I forgot about that.
That's the just January 6th, random date. That's the date. That's the national championship, January 6th. That's what it's for.
Yeah, that's what it was.
First week of January. Want to commemorate it.
The week-long New Year celebration.
Isn't that Orthodox Christmas? Yeah. January 6th.
That's right. Yeah.
So sorry to take us away from that topic, but real quick. Jake, I didn't realize this. Did you know that the debate was actually in Alpharetta between DeSantis and Newsom? I could have been there,
but I didn't know that it was there.
Oh man, it was at the Hilton in Alpharetta.
Oh wow. Is that in downtown? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's not in down. I know where it's at though. Yeah. Man.
Wow. You could have gotten in there, Aiden, and just been like the Trump guy. Trump.
Yeah, just screaming. That would have been great.
Did you just see him escorted out?
Escorted it. Gavin Newsom. Brought some shoe lifts, extra shoe lifts for DeSantis.
Extra shoe lifts for DeSantis. You got to try out these boots, bud. They'll make you 5 feet taller. You take them.
It's a lift kit.
Yeah, it's a lift kit. Here's a 3-inch lift kit. Did you guys watch any of it? I didn't.
I didn't watch it.
Okay,
I heard neither one was really stellar, but
let's see what it's about.
His hands. He refused.
Oh, this is gonna be good. He's already on a roll.
Joe Biden is sitting on his hands. He refuses to take care of the border. He refuses to hold the drug cartels accountable. This is the vision of Biden, Harris, Newsom.
I support border security. I think the asylum system is broken. I believe that we need.
I understand that.
Easily 3 bottles of Jill in that hair.
Oh my gosh. And like enough plastic surgery to kill a man.
Governor, you're trolling folks and trying to find migrants to play political games to try to get some news and attention so you can out Trump. And by the way, how's that going for you?
Trump.
You're down 41 points in your own home state. Biden administration the last 3 years. It's been a master.
Joe Biden paying you tonight?
3.9%.
I thought this was state versus state.
No, but it's about the United States of America. I thought this guy was running for president of the United States. If
you
you're
are
running
too.
for
You just won't admit it.
running for a third.
You just won't admit it. You will not admit it.
Is Joe Biden experiencing this cognitive decline? Is it a danger to the country? Do you find when he speaks, what is your reaction to it?
Yes, he's in decline. Yes, it's a danger to the country. He has no business running for president. And, you know, Gavin Newsom agrees with that. He won't say that. But that's why he's running his shadow campaign.
It will take Joe Biden at 100 versus Ron DeSantis any day of the week at any age. You had
We're not
quarantines.
False.
You had quarantines. You had checkpoints all over the state of Florida. By the way, I didn't say that. Donald Trump laid you out on this, dead to right. You did
not
that.
true.
You followed science. You followed Fauci,
That's
Ron
not-
DeSantis.
that's not false.
He followed science.
That's not
He
true.
followed.
You had more kids.
Wait, is that true? Do we need to fact check that?
Yeah, that's news to me.
Did he follow quarantine? Maybe initially, right? I mean, but after that,
He did initially he did, but they were also one of the first states to
back off.
to stop it.
I
Yeah.
mean, I would listen. I was in Florida during COVID. I didn't see any quarantines happening.
Yeah.
Let's see
Maybe
what-
officially they had it, but probably weren't enforcing it.
I'm sure they weren't. Yeah, I don't know about this. Let's see
For a
what else.
longer period of time in California than anywhere else in the country. It was the working class kids. It was the middle income kids. His kids were in private school. They were in class in person.
Slow down. I want everyone to be heard.
What does he fucking do with his he licks? Do you see Newsom? He licks his lips and
Slow down. I
What's
want
that?
everyone to be heard. If I can ask.
Oh yeah.
and it's
what
like
was
into
that?
a smile. It's him being
His
a
kids
lizard.
were in private school. They were in class.
We'll get
It's him trying to move his mouth because of the plastic surgery. He's warming it up. He's okay. He's doing facial dexterity exercises so he can move his mouth because it's fucking plastic. This is
Slow down.
He probably got a recommendation from Pelosi's
I
surgeon.
really do
Yeah,
want this to
sure.
breathe. I want this debate to breathe. I want it to organically develop. To do that, I need both your cooperation. I don't want to be a hall monitor. It's not my style, all right?
This is a book that's in some of the schools in California. Florida, this is not consistent with our standards, called Gender Queer. Some of it's blacked out. You would not probably be able to put this on air. This is pornography. It's cartoons. It's aimed at children, and it's wrong. So this should not be in schools.
Those books, do you believe that's appropriate for school districts to teach kids? Yes or no?
Come on, those aren't. That's not part of the curriculum. They're not
Excuse me,
teaching
those
kids
are
that. That's not
those
it.
are books that were in school.
Hold on. The bottom line is you are on a book banning binge. Your state. One.
I didn't really answer that one.
He didn't really answer it. I mean, no person in their right mind would actually answer that as yes, that's okay.
Yeah.
He knows it's also was found in the schools. So what you gonna say? What you gonna say? What you gonna say? He's a politician. He snuck around that. Here's the law.
Yeah, what was that? That's so weird.
And then he goes into a smile. He's it's freaking creepy, man.
See, that's what is a little scary though, is you could tell he's already well versed in how to lie, how to get around tough questions like that.
Exactly.
Biden, everyone can laugh at her. Kamala, they just she'll start cackling, he'll just start
Laughing.
mumbling
Yeah,
incoherently.
right.
This guy, he can actually.
He's a good politician.
Yeah. That's
He's a
what's
politician.
frightening.
He's a politician. Yeah. People will vote for that. People will vote for a politician. There's good track records on voting for politicians like that.
Should be voting for statesmen. I feel like that should be the new thing. Are you a statesman or you're not? Because everyone knows a politician isn't a very high standard.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that would be a good change in the vocabulary to start thinking about better things. I don't know. I guess it was kind of hard to watch them both. They weren't very.
Neither was very good.
I don't know what the word would be for on video, but photogenic. Videogenic.
Videogenic. No, they're just both annoying. That's the problem. They both speak and you want to jump off a building.
I know you're thoughts aren't coming together well. They're not really connecting ideas.
No, Ron constantly sounds like he needs 10 Adderalls to focus. I mean, he's just all over the place.
Yeah.
And then once he does get his 10 Adderalls, he sounds like he has 10 Adderalls in him. That's so there's no in between.
Yeah.
Ron either needs 10 Adderalls or needs 10 less Adderalls. I mean, it's just
Yeah, that was probably off his meds run. And
that was
then
off his meds
the
run.
Republican debate he was on, he was
Who's
definitely on them.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's which Ron do you get? You never know. Do you get the Ron in heels? Do you get the Ron in flats? You're never really sure. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. That's too bad. He started out promising, but I
No,
think
he's
he's
a-
gonna fade a little bit here
He's a
as we get
goof.
closer.
He's a goof. He's a goof.
I know it's kind of wild how many candidates are all kind of big flops.
Here's the thing. All of them are bought and sold by the same corporations. It's all the whole thing is a mess. Because I don't know if you ever watched the show Veep. Either of you guys? No. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like this show about the vice president, and then she becomes president, and it's a comedy. It's kind of ridiculous. But the whole sort of thing, and it is accurate that it kind of portrays is like how intertwined everything is. So like the special interest groups and the donor groups are so intertwined with every single politician, whether left, right, center, it doesn't freaking matter. They're buying and selling everybody. It's just whoever's favor they can get. So like you could be Ron DeSantis or Gavin Newsom. It's all the same. You're just going to be bought by some special interest group that's essentially owned by the same parent company. I mean, like all these things are so intertwined. It doesn't even really matter. There's this seem it seems like there's a lot of different options, especially when politicians are like, oh, the donors and whatnot, we'll just find a group that aligns with our interests. But really those groups are then just run by bigger corporations that are run by bigger corporations. It's all the same thing, and they're all corrupt. They're all bought and sold. And so you might see somebody, you know, give a little sparkle and promise, and then they start actually running and they start actually accepting money, and instantly they're changed. And they lose that. They lose everything that you're attracted to them in the first place. And that's the problem with politics. Can't trust anyone.
You just follow the money. You'll root out any politician that way.
Exactly.
Disappointing though, because they always start out you're on board. You think they're gonna be your guy, but
it's usually when they start to run, because they haven't accepted many donations or contributions to the campaign. And as the money starts to come in more and more and more, and they get deeper into the campaigns, is usually when they're promising special interest groups they'll do X, Y, and Z when they get elected, and then they get suddenly they get $10 million from so-and-so group and another 10 million from this group and all that stuff. And then that starts to add up, and that weighs on what they say when they're up there. And they're not actually the ones writing any of the things that they say that are up there. They're having their campaign manager who delegates that to be written by somebody on the campaign team. And all those things that they're saying up there, all those answers that they're giving, every way that they're portraying is just to please their donors and special interest groups, so that they get, because at the end of the day, you don't get elected by people voting for you. You get elected by how much money you can gain from the special interest groups. And how many and how many people in the if you're running for president, how many people in the how many state representatives you gain favor with, all that stuff. It matters. You gotta call them the favors at some point. So it's a lot of ass kissing and money taking. Corruption.
Reminds me of I saw Tucker Carlson talking about George Soros. He was saying that Soros was pretty genius and that he targeted certain individuals in government and got them in with money. Instead of funneling all of his money towards a president, he was getting all the people in place to keep it all running.
Right.
Create this system. It's very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you do it. You don't go to the top, you figure out what keeps the top at the top. And then you use that. What are the pillars that support the top? and then you own all the pillars. That way, whenever and then when you own all the pillars, society depends on you.
Yeah.
It's a little scary. Yeah. One thing I did see Newsom say, and this would be after the debate, I think. Did you guys see that? I think this was about a week ago. I threw it on the doc. So Newsom directed the California Highway Patrol to ramp up its efforts to address the retail crime across the state. And I don't know if you guys have followed any of this since it started, but I don't know if you guys were aware, but you can steal up to like, I think it's like, is it like $950 worth of stuff from retail stores at a time and not be charged with felony or a crime?
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Right. Something like that. So yeah, apparently, after they made that a thing, now he's cracking down on it during the holiday season. And I think he said something like this, when criminals run out of stores with stolen goods, they need to be arrested and escorted directly into jail cells. Like, what does that mean? When they run out of stores with stolen, yeah. So apparently now he's completely backtracking on their original plan. So apparently now they're going to start arresting people. I don't know.
That's convenient as he's getting his feet wet in the presidential race now.
Right.
You got to save face.
Exactly. So they will be allocating $267 million to 55 cities and counties to fight organized retail crime.
All right. Way to go, Gavin.
I'm gonna sniff out a little money laundering here. Okay. $267 million is a lot. And my guess is that 267 million will come from taxpayers' pockets. And I have a feeling there was absolutely no organized retail crime fighting program before this. So essentially, the state of California has manufactured a way to increase taxes by creating a problem, then fixing the problem. They fixed it, but they created it. I'm sensing a little money laundering going on there. A little bit of thievery. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Whenever I see that, like whenever you see a problem caused by the state, then not fixed, then they come out with a solution to fix that problem, I'm always very suspicious, especially when they were the ones that caused it in the first place. It's like the homeless epidemic that's going on out there, right? Like we could solve they could solve the homeless epidemic, but it is like a $80 million industry per year in California. That's how, I forget how much is allocated to the homeless problem in California, their budget. But it's insane and it gets worse every year. So how do you spend that much money and it gets worse every year? And the answer is the money never actually makes it to support homeless people. It just gets basically funneled through all these pet projects and basically laundered. Let me see, homeless budget in California. Oh, sorry, million wasn't enough. 7.2 billion to address homelessness.
Wow.
California set aside 7.2 billion to address homelessness in 2021 and 2022. Yeah.
That's crazy. Wow.
You'd think 7.2 billion would be enough to fix it. And they fixed it in a couple of weeks for that little get together that they had with the Chinese.
They did.
We talked about that last podcast.
Rolled out the red carpet.
They rolled out the red carpet. Yeah, I don't know. It's
That was weird.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on out there. But isn't it funny? You see like the whole defund the police, then they're like, oh, crime skyrockets, and then they're like refund the police, and then they are like, actually, we don't need as many, like we can let people steal from stores. Oh, actually we can't. We need a new crime unit.
Yeah, it's just the same vicious cycle.
It's
the
same
outrage
thing
about something, and then completely backtrack on it.
Yep.
It always like roughly a year later, I feel like.
Oh yeah. No, 100%. It's always a year later. They give you just long enough to forget about it, and then they're like, okay, now that you've forgotten about the problem we caused you.
Yeah.
It's just like this whole the Bidenomics thing, guys. The press secretary's telling us the US economy never been better. We're thriving right now. I think she said, here's what is her name? Karine Jean-Pierre. First of all, she has a French last name. I hate it. That makes so much sense. Get that Frenchie off the stage. Okay, here's her quote. The fact is, the data shows. First of all, I hate that first sentence. Somebody take her back to school. The fact is, the data shows the economy is improving. The data shows, if she says the data shows, how many times you guys pull out a shot glass? Let's do a little drinking game here. The data shows that that households remain in strong financial positions. Household wealth is at a record high, with lower income households seeing the largest gains since the pandemic. We do not take lightly what the Americans and families continue to feel. That's why our president at 2:00 is going to talk about what actions he is going to take to lower costs. Yeah.
You notice in all that talk about data, she doesn't bring up any actual
data
numerical values. No
but
numbers.
but Jake, this is as good as data. So just you wait. She says that the Trump administration is the reason the US economy is left on a tailspin. Because of the Trump administration, because of how they dealt with COVID and the pandemic, they didn't have a comprehensive plan. The president came in, he passed the American Rescue Plan, which was able to get the economy back on its feet. Oh, Joe, what a guy passing that American Rescue Plan.
Savior.
He rescued us, all right. I don't know from what. Maybe from sniffing kids out on the street. He just took it into the White House. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is just.
If he had, I'm sure she doesn't mention the student loan forgiveness that was promised.
Yeah, what happened?
I'm sure that that's another thing that's been just conveniently forgotten now.
Yeah.
Did that ever go through, or did that?
No.
It didn't. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
They gave all the money to Ukraine, Tom. Ukraine needed it more.
That's right.
Israel really needed it more. They needed those Apache helicopters and missiles and everything else that we sent them. They needed it. They were feeling left out.
Sure.
Yeah. I did see that there was a survey done that said 1 in 2 Americans. This is the counter little Jean-Pierre's little argument. 1 in 2 Americans say, so that's 50% of Americans, if you can't do math. Well, 50% of Americans polled there say their overall financial situation is worse now than it was in 2020. So her math, A plus B does not equal C on her end. I'm not sure.
Off there.
Something's going on in her math, not totally sure what. But yeah, the economy's thriving, guys. Jake, you got anything to add?
Well, yeah, since she didn't provide any figures, I will provide them here. Kind of substantiate what she's saying. So since 20
What's at stake with Jake? What's at stake with Jake coming up?
Yeah, so Q1 2021, that's when Biden was inaugurated. Since then, 401ks in the US are down 25%. Pension plans are down 12%. Real wages down 3%, which completely contradicts what she was saying, that the American families are better off. That I don't know, maybe I'm not looking at it right, but I thought if real wages are down, that means less well off. Am I right?
I mean, one might think that, yeah.
That
Who
knows?
Makes sense.
What do I know? Also gas prices. I know it's been talked about a lot. I haven't seen it in a while. Like relative to what it was before Biden. Since that first quarter of 21, they're up 35% nationally, which is just, I mean, it's astounding thinking about that number. Like, we hear about how gas prices are up all the time, but seeing it put in that context is crazy.
Yeah.
And then another interesting stat I saw, Thanksgiving meal prices since 2019 up 25%. So just kind of highlighting
Cost of food.
the cost of food for the consumer. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, those were a few figured I'd help back her up a little bit on her math.
Well, it seems like you guys are really saying the same thing.
I think so too.
I
just
think you're-
just saying it differently.
You're
We're
just saying it
expressing
differently.
differently.
You're expressing it differently, but you're saying the same thing.
Same idea.
Same idea. Yeah.
We're on the same side. Just,
you're on the same side.
know,
You're on the
we're
same
coming from
page.
different places.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You just got the right side of the page.
That's
You just got the wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we should take her along with the whole Biden administration and ship them on a boat over there to Russia or something. Just put them on that little cruise you were talking about, the Bering Strait cruise. Just send them up to the Bering Strait.
Mm-hmm.
See
Go
what
all the way
happens.
around up the Arctic.
Yeah.
They can land in was it St. Petersburg, go down to Moscow,
Petersburg. Well,
and then have the
now,
summit with Putin that they've been talking about.
now. You can't be going over to Russia now unless you're ready to sign their loyalty agreement. So,
True.
I mean, but I assume they would sign their loyalty. It's like like when you go to the store and they're like, you go to the Gap, right? Let's just say you go to the Gap and they're like, do you want to sign up for your Gap rewards program? You can get 2% cash back with this Gap's loyalty agreement card or whatever, right? No, Kohl's, that's the one, Kohl's. It's like $25 Kohl's cash when you sign up for the Kohl's loyalty program.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Russia's trying to do. They're trying to incentivize people to sign up, come visit Russia. They want people to come to Russia. Now, all you got to do when you sign up for the Russian loyalty agreement, when you show up to the country, you show up to the little customs desks and some, guy named Igor is screaming at you in Russian, asking, why are you here, American? All you got to say is, you get this little piece of paper and you sign this little agreement basically saying that if you're a visitor, you're prohibited with interfering with activities of public authorities of the Russian Federation. You're not allowed to discredit any form of foreign or domestic state policy. Basically what you're being told is you can't say anything bad about the Russians while you're there or after you leave. So that's all you got to do. Then you get into the loyalty program. It's all good.
They probably got a point system too, like 25 points for every trip you take there.
Yeah. So the agreement's just trying to keep in place the traditional Russian family values, culture, and environment. Okay. That's what they're trying to keep in mind here. Yeah. So this whole thing, I mean, this thing's crazy. So in all seriousness, yeah, Russian lawmakers have proposed legislation that would require foreign visitors to sign loyalty agreement, effectively controlling their actions and speech while in the country. What it will do is essentially it will make it a crime to speak poorly of the fatherland. If you're immigrating or visiting, you're doing all these things, right? Now what was interesting is it says upon entering, this part was the part that interested me though, and I want to get you guys takes. Upon entering Russia, foreigners would also be legally required to refrain from propaganda or spreading propaganda about non-traditional sexual relations. or distorting the historical truth pertaining to the feat of the Soviet people in defending their fatherland and their contribution to the victory over fascism. But I thought the non-traditional sexual relation, does that mean they're going all like, what's that country that really hates the homos?
Oh, is that
Saudi?
Indonesia, right?
Oh, I thought it was one of like the Muslim countries.
Oh, well, that was a given. That was a given.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like, does this mean they're going down that route too? They're going to keep the gays out? Is that what they're saying there?
That's what it sounds like.
Non-traditional, yeah, spreading propaganda for
Non-traditional.
non-traditional.
Very interesting.
So
I know they have laws already against like internally
No,
propagandizing it.
you're not allowed
So
to
I
come
guess I
in.
wouldn't be surprised if they apply it to foreigners now too.
Yeah, Tom, tell your gay friends at the gym that they shouldn't be going to Russia now, or at least they shouldn't be going wearing like a rainbow flag or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'll
just
keep
let
that
them
in
know.
mind.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
remind, just like a kindly, a kind little nudge, saying, hey, public service announcement. If you're gonna fly to Russia, maybe don't wear your pride flag.
Yeah. I will keep that in mind for him.
Okay. I thought it
Still
was
have to
important.
tell. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
I still have to tell you guys with Jack
Yeah, man.
the
Maybe.
story.
Yeah, well, might have to. Yeah.
It's escalated. It's escalated.
It's
There's another gay guy.
escalated. Oh boy. I don't know if I want to know what that means. It's escalating. Okay. But I thought that was interesting. So if you're going to Russia anytime soon, you might maybe want to refrain so you don't have to join their rewards program.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're getting 25% like back on anything. Doesn't sound like a rewards program that's really worth it.
Hey, you'll win on the exchange rate with the ruble.
Oh yeah, that's true. I know.
Right now.
When I was in Canada, I bought some things and I really won out. Those Canadians are getting ripped off.
Mm-hmm.
Those little wannabe commies over there. I mean, Trudeau's got it set up good. He's just handing money over to us.
Oh yeah, he knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing. Last thing on my docket, and I see a couple other things on here that you guys put on, but apparently the Pentagon, they had that whole big issue, that little accounting error. They couldn't figure out where all that money went. Mm-hmm. Well, no, that doesn't matter, apparently. Because they've added an additional, the Pentagon's real important. So they've added an additional $25.7 billion to the Pentagon's defense spending budget this year. Never mind those, like, I think it was like what, 10 billion or something that they lost or misplaced somewhere, or their accounting couldn't come up for. But here's the breakdown. So 10.7, I mean, I can't even, what is $1 billion? What is $1 billion? How do you spend $1 billion? Like, I want this put in real simple terms for me. Like, they say $10.7 billion spent on 580 different programs. What are these 580 different programs? And you're telling me 580 programs cost $10.7 billion?
That's
maybe they all have high salaries? Question mark.
I mean, I don't know. 10.7 billion.
I mean,
I don't know. 15 billion for 636 different weapons projects. Do we even have 636 weapons?
We used to.
Yeah. So the rest is going to a bunch of different stuff, but I'm just, I just don't understand how you can, what I don't get is how we left all that stuff over there in Afghanistan, but then all of a sudden we're worried about spending all this extra money on more weapons. Couldn't they have salvaged some of it?
Right. Yeah, the
sold it
excuse at
off?
the time the excuse at that time was that we didn't need it. We had plenty already. It was just
Yeah.
like that was a minuscule amount that we were
And-
leaving there.
And the 25.7 billion isn't their normal budget. Like that's just on top of their normal budget.
Yeah.
So it's gonna fund 1,200 research projects. I don't know. I think it's all a scam. I saw that today and I was like, I don't even understand
Yeah.
how they're spending that. But what do
Yes.
I know?
Research projects like that
Research projects.
could mean a lot of things. Pretty broad,
I want a research
broad
project
term.
with the Pentagon. Like, come on, how do I get one of these so-called research projects set up?
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously.
Like, seriously, if you're listening to this, Pentagon, please let me know. I'd be interested in applying for one of your research projects. Gosh,
Full time.
Full time. I
Heck,
mean,
I'll
that would
do it
set me.
full time.
I mean, that would set me for life. Meanwhile, we can't pay
Yeah.
off the. Listen, guys, student loans probably not going to happen. We just don't have the budget for it.
Mhm.
Okay, plain and simple. We're just flat out broke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what we do with the budget for the $7.5 billion to fund electric vehicle charging stations.
Yes, those are so
Mm.
important.
That was back in 2021.
Mm.
But none of them have been installed yet. 2 years later, none of those funds have been allocated towards.
So where did
actual
the
charging
funds go,
stations.
Jake? Please do tell. Please do tell.
Supposedly they're still holding them in reserve because they have not approved it to be sent to the states yet. They still have to get through some regulatory hurdles right now.
So what you're telling me is they just printed a bunch of money without actually figuring out the full plan.
I mean, that's one way of putting it.
Okay.
Yeah.
7.5 billion. I'm adding these things up here, you know, they keep adding up and I'm thinking to myself, man, how many student loans could we have paid for?
Right. Well, and you had, what was it, the 7.2 billion in San Francisco, right?
San Francisco, yep. And then you got the 25 billion. We're up to 40 billion. How many billion have we sent to Ukraine by now? This episode's going to be called budgeting with the Green Dragon podcast. So we're at 40 billion, folks. What is it, Tom? Sorry.
I want to say it's 250 now.
It's 250 billion,
Yeah.
right? 250
That
billion.
sounds right.
Okay, and then how much did we send to our pals over there in Israel?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that off the
I think
top of
that's
my
like
head.
20. Does that sound?
All right,
20?
how much
I want to say
That's
it's
probably
like-
a low estimate. That's probably a conservative
Yeah.
estimate.
did we send to Israel? Oh, they say we only committed 3.3. That's BS.
Just 3.3 billion. That's it.
Yeah, just 3. We'll call it 5. I have a feeling they lost a few of those dollars. Oh yeah, what about
Measly
the
5
money?
billion.
What about the money that we lost giving to Ukraine? Wasn't that like another 8 billion?
Yeah, isn't there? Yeah,
So
something
if
like
we
that. That's just totally unaccounted for.
So if we just add up the, these little couple pet projects mentioned, we're at 303 billion. Now, I don't know what the current student debt is. Jake, yeah, any ideas?
Alright, let's see here.
So you mean like per person or the whole thing?
I guess the whole thing, 1.6 trillion. But
Yeah.
303 billion, 1.6 trillion. It's at least putting a dent in it. Getting closer.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Just like
because I only think they paid like a couple, I think they've only paid like 800 million. And for the student debt forgiveness, or like what they actually started to pay. If anything.
every little bit counts.
Every little bit counts.
Proportionally, it's like making your monthly payment and your
You know
student
what else?
loans.
Yeah, maybe they should just pay off their debt too. That'd be real good.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe just stop handing out money. Maybe if they'd quit crashing, maybe if they'd quit crashing shit like $2 billion planes into, the ocean. Yeah. I mean, maybe we'd be a little bit better off here. Did you see they crashed like a helicopter somewhere?
I think I did see that.
Yeah,
It's like
did you
every
see
other day
that?
now. I feel like there's some.
They're like they just do this for fun. It's like they wake up in the morning and whoever. I thought this was our military. I thought they were supposed to be competent on these things. And every other day there seems to be a crash. Okay, here we go. Yeah, on 6 days ago. So what would that be? November 30th? A U.S. military Osprey aircraft, which is like one of those like choppers that like it's like kind of sick looking. I don't know if you guys know what those look like.
Yeah, I know what those are. Those are pretty neat.
Okay, so here you go. So
Oh yeah.
One of those, right? So crashed near Yakushima Island in Japan, leading to the death of at least one crew member, with others missing. Blah 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 blah. Japanese defense minister said, in the light of this incident, the Minister of Defense has asked the relevant departments to cooperate with the Japanese Coast Guard to confirm whether or not blah 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 crash thing. Yeah, there's no information on this. 4 incidents of this thing crashing since 2017. Either there's a problem with this thing, the thing that they created, or they just have really bad drivers. I'm not sure. But we like to crash these, like, I'm sure this thing costs like $500 million,
Other countries are looking at that too. Seeing that's the standard we're setting now. It's a pretty low one. Probably
I don't know. I tell you.
Yeah. That's a little depressing.
It is a little depressing.
It is literally. I feel like every day I look on the news and see some new whether it's an aircraft crashing or a tank blew up, some expensive equipment seems to be getting misused.
Yeah, and then the billions of dollars of equipment we left over there in Afghanistan. It's real good. So I think what we've come to the conclusion on this podcast is that the government should hire us to do their budgeting.
With Jake on the team, I feel so confident. Every time he gives a chart on what we're doing, I feel better. So I'm down.
We'll get Karine Jean-Pierre with us too.
No, she's a real heavy hitter.
Yeah.
Real heavy hitter.
The dream team.
Yeah. And the reason I say she's a heavy hitter is because she's got like her brain. That brain mass is like just a sack full of bricks. I mean, it's just straight like concrete up there. There's nothing else. So it's real heavy hitter. We could use her as like a battering ram or something.
That's right.
Wait, guys, there is, before we before we start wrapping things up here tonight, so this is 2 hours ago, actually. I was on the news site and this came up, and I hadn't heard anything about this in a while, so it piqued my interest. So I'm just going to read through it for you guys. Underreported, Senator Marsha Blackburn asked FBI Director Christopher Wray about redacted flight logs pertaining to Jeffrey Epstein. The FBI's handling of the case and allegations that Epstein's case was swept under the rug. This comes after Senator Blackburn requested approval to subpoena the unredacted flight logs from private planes used by Jeffrey Epstein. The subpoena was ultimately denied by both the state judiciary committee, with both Republicans and Democrats blaming each other for failing to approve the subpoena. Well, that doesn't surprise me. Both of them were probably on the plane.
Curious what they have to hide.
Yeah, so the Democrats are blaming the Republicans for filibustering, which led to 177 amendments not passing. And aide to Durbin said he was willing to stay all day in order to allow the Republicans to offer, as well as debate, the 177 amendments that they filed ahead of the markup, saying that the committee would vote on the subpoena authorization after. And then Senator Blackburn, just coming from the Republicans, accused Senator Durbin of blocking the request, asking Durbin Adding Durbin blocked my request to subpoena Jeffrey Epstein's flight logs. What are the Democrats trying to hide? Well, doesn't look like we're gonna get anywhere with that one. That one's gonna, you know, take us to the end of eternity. We're never actually gonna find out who was on that freaking flight.
It sounds like a lot of blame going around there, but not a lot of accountability.
Not a lot of answers. Yeah, not a lot of answers. So yeah, I was really hoping for like a big breaking news thing. But we got more of the BS. It's too bad. That's one that really piques my interest. Man, what I would do to have those flight logs.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe not. You'd be on the hit list then.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's best for me not to know. That'd be a tough one to escape from alive.
They, like, the last year, I feel like they always kind of dangle it in front of everybody saying that they think it's gonna be released imminently, and then nothing ever happens. So now I've just learned not to even get my hopes up when I hear a story about that.
Yeah. Jake, it looks like you got. Oh, sorry, Tom. Go ahead.
I just had one thing to share with you guys. Apparently, was this last week or a few nights ago? I guess Bobby Iger was trying to do something to Elon Musk on Twitter, or I guess like he said the article said he's trying to cancel Elon Musk. I wasn't sure what that meant, but that night, whenever this happened, Disney lost over 23 million subscribers.
23 million.
Yeah, that's massive.
That is a lot of subscribers. What is their sub count? Is this through their platforms?
I think so. I want to say it was like 100 million were subscribed. So I was just kind of blown away that there were that many. Yeah, I'll just read the headline.
Yeah, what's the deal with everybody canceling their Disney Plus?
Yeah, so it says Disney loses millions of potential revenue. After Elon Musk calls out Disney and other world companies for blackmailing him with money over X ads. So yeah, this was just the article. So yeah, it just says Disney loses 23 million subscribers overnight trying to cancel Musk. So I just thought that was really wild. Like that's a lot of people.
That is a lot of people. So it sounds like maybe they left the platform for advertising, and then he said basically "fuck you," and then
pretty much.
And then there was the whole thing. That's crazy. That's a lot of subs.
Yeah, I mean that's if they had like 100 million, that's a quarter of their business.
Right. That's nuts. I mean, they're ripping people off. So, I mean, it probably doesn't hurt them too bad. I mean, but it hurts their yearly margins. But like, yeah, that's still a lot of people to unsubscribe.
Yeah, maybe people just had enough.
It's possible. The only problem is like now it's like, where do you, like if you want to like get any sort of like sports or anything on TV, it's like, where do you go?
That's true. You almost
because like the problem is like, yeah, there's like places that like do a decent job at getting some stuff and aren't, you know, horrible. But then like if you want to like watch like sporting events, you have to be subscribed to either like one of the big news or like the networks. Gonna be like subscribed to like Paramount or one of them, Disney, Hulu. So it's tough. I don't really think about Sling TV. What's the other one? Fubo.
Yeah.
Fubo. It's tough.
Yeah, they're all pretty subpar. Like, even the main ones are kind of poor now too. Like,
well, it's a racket. It's also what they did is they were like, people were leaving their cable because cable is too expensive, right? You're like, oh, we'll leave our cable, it's too expensive. And then what happened is for a while the streaming services were doing okay. And you'd go to like Netflix and get a bunch of like really good stuff. But then there's all these licensing deals. And then I think there's some sort of collusion. So now you'll never get the same shows on, because of the licensing deals, you'll never get the same shows on the platforms. So if you like, let's say you're an Office fan, you have to have Peacock. But then let's say you want to watch a HBO show, you have to have HBO then. So all of a sudden you have to have HBO, Amazon Prime, Apple TV,
Right.
Netflix. You have to have them all. And then all of a sudden you're spending $200 a month just to watch the shows you used to watch.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a racket. But that's a little bit to do with the life. I don't know if that was actually planned. I think a lot of it's to do with the licensing. And like once you get in that feeding frenzy of the different platforms eating up the different licensing deals, you get into that kind of competitive sort of cycle where they just eat them up, try to get the best shows, and so each platform is going to get a couple decent shows, right?
Yeah.
So it's a little weird.
I know, I kind of wish you could just buy, like, I don't know, maybe if there was a way to make a business where you could just buy the shows you want directly.
Amazon's got it.
Like,
You could do it through Amazon typically. Amazon, isn't there another one? Isn't there another one you can buy shows?
Yeah, you can buy them.
I think Apple,
like,
right?
Yeah.
Apple TV.
Apple, no.
But it's like
Pretty sure.
I don't know, like you either have to wait for all the season to come out, or if you buy the movie, it's really expensive. And then like on Amazon, you don't actually own the movie, you just have a lifetime subscription to watch
To
it.
the movie, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I know. I think you're onto something.
Damn licensing agreements.
Yeah.
Those are tough ones, dude. The studios, you hold on to those like they're gold because they are gold. They'll just keep selling that off in little bits, or kind of leasing it basically. And it's cash crop. When you have like a show like The Office, the leasing, like just to get the rights to put The Office on your platform is insane. Like I can't imagine what Peacock pays.
Yeah, it must have been a lot to take it off Netflix.
Oh yeah, it's a great deal because people literally just get the Peacock subscription to watch The Office.
I'm one of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Have you guys kept up at all with the Hollywood strikes? Are those still ongoing?
I think they ended, didn't they? I thought they just ended. Maybe I'm wrong.
I hadn't seen anything on it, so I was just curious.
I wasn't following it too closely.
Yeah,
Honestly, I was
yeah,
annoyed
either.
with them. The strikes are over, apparently. They ended, I guess. Let me see. Hollywood strikes are wrapping up. What's next for streamers? Yeah, we'll see what's gonna come out then. I mean, maybe this means good movies. I feel like it didn't really stop though, to be honest. I felt like there was so much in the backlog that they just kept putting stuff out.
Yeah,
It's
with
still
COVID.
it was still the
COVID,
same
it was kinda-
subpar.
Yeah. I know with COVID, it was kind of, like you said, they had the backlog, so I think they were able to draw on that.
Uh-huh.
Kind of like we do with this show. We miss a week,
Yeah.
we just put in one of the extra ones that we have in lag.
Exactly.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just kind of upset because I was really looking forward to Doom 2 coming up over Thanksgiving. And then it got bumped back to March.
Oh, is that right? It got pushed out to March.
Oh.
That was like the only one I was looking forward to.
Yeah.
That got
I
pushed back.
honestly anymore, I haven't really been to a movie recently that really was great. Yeah.
Yeah, me neither. Last one I was at was the Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, you
no.
went to the top.
That was good.
Did you see Top Gun in the theater?
No, unfortunately.
Top Gun was pretty good.
That was probably the
Theater.
last good one I've seen in
Yeah.
the theater.
Oh, you know, I watched the Indiana Jones movie. That one wasn't terrible.
The Mission Impossible.
Was that good?
Yeah, the latest one is really good. There's one scene in there. It's like a nightclub thing, but it's not too explicit. But besides that, it's very, very good. I think.
What
it's
is it like? Mission Impossible 10 now?
7.
7.
But yeah, pretty close.
It feels like it. Feels
think
like
Fast and Furious is 10 now.
10. Okay, that's maybe what I was thinking of. Oh. Yep, we'll see when they end. They probably will never end.
Yeah, I feel like Vin Diesel's immortal. So
One of these, they'll just do it and they'll have to CGI his face to make him look young or something.
Yeah.
Keep him going like Harrison Ford. Oh, too funny. Jake, I see one more thing on your list. Should we cover that before we close her out?
If we've got time, I figured I could follow up on these important budgeting affairs we've been talking about.
Oh, right. There's still more. Okay, I've got the calculator back out.
All right. So the Florida budget is coming out.
Oh,
this
okay.
is a pretty minuscule amount compared to what we've been talking about. But Ron DeSantis, in light of
good old heels.
In light of the Florida State snub from the college football committee.
Oh, he's pissed about that. Come on, Ron, let it go.
No, he's allocating $1 million for a lawsuit out of the Florida budget to sue the college football playoff committee.
That's the dumbest.
I saw it.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I saw it on ESPN.
I'm gonna
in the middle of the show here.
I'm gonna sue Ron DeSantis for being an idiot.
So add another $1 million there.
Why would he do that? That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. What was his reasoning?
He thinks that they deserve to be in the playoff.
And he's gonna sue him over it?
He thinks barely beating Louisville and barely beating
what a loser.
Forget who they played before, but
if I was on the cusp of, you know, should I vote for Ron DeSantis or not? This would put the nail in the coffin and say absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the angle there was, because most people outside of
this is ridiculous. Listen to this quote. Listen to this quote. This is my first grader, my fifth grader, and my preschooler. They are Knowles, and they are big time fans, and they do the tomahawk chop, and they were not happy, said Ron DeSantis. We are going to set aside $1 million and let the chips fall where they may. Ron, all you're teaching your kids is that you're a sore loser. You're a man that's trying to compensate for something small. And I'm not going to say on air what it is, but man, this is pretty stupid.
Like, way to alienate all the SEC fans too. That should be his core. The core, core demographically is going for.
I'm not a fan. Not a fan of Ron. Ron lost my respect.
Yeah, that was
nail in the coffin right there. What an idiot.
Know what he's talking about there, but I figured it was relevant since we're talking about budgeting.
That's
yet another
that's the biggest waste of $1 million I've ever seen.
It's unbelievable. Who
actually does that?
Even if I was a Florida State fan, I still wouldn't like that.
No.
My tax dollars go into a meaningless lawsuit.
Yeah, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Like, who cares if you sue them? They're not in the playoff. They're not going to change their decision.
They're not going to do anything about it.
Oh, and the best part is the budget doesn't go into effect until after the national championship.
Oh my gosh, what an idiot.
So they literally, you can't do anything about it.
It's literally wasting $1 million.
Yeah, even if you somehow had a case for it, it would make no difference what actually happened.
Man, I might have to agree with Newsom. Ron's a little kookadoo. Man, I don't know about this. Well,
but budgeting.
In conclusion, clean up the budgets, get rid of Ron DeSantis. This is ridiculous. His time as running for president needs to end, folks. This is not a call to action. This is just telling you, please don't vote for him. This man's ridiculous. After hearing that, I don't know if I can ever look at him the same. I thought the heels did it for me, but this really, heels and this, jeez Louise. I mean, come on.
If you can't see Alabama's a better team than Florida State,
I mean, shoot.
That does it for
You
me.
lost me. Gosh.
Well, isn't Alabama the #1 forever?
Well, not the last 2 years, Tom. Georgia's been the #1. And let me tell you, when Georgia won the national championship the last 2 years, they refused to go to the White House. I'm putting that out there.
Mhm.
My team's better than everybody else's.
That's cool.
I swear, Nick Saban will win. He'll go to the White House. I know he will. He likes Biden.
Wait, really?
I don't know. I'm just saying things right now because I don't like Alabama.
Don't get him started on Alabama.
I'm just a hater. Yeah, I don't know. This is ridiculous. Anyways, we should get off before I go down another rabbit hole. I will get very heated on this topic, and it's not worth anybody's time.
Gonna call the dogs.
Yeah, I'm gonna start suing. Well, guys, thanks for doing this. We covered quite a bit here. I think we solved the budgeting crisis here going on in the US, and there's a few others. There were some explosions that we didn't talk about, the Rainbow Bridge and all that stuff, but less important than Biden turning 81 and the economy doing well and improving. According
I
to
love how you threw that in there. There's some explosions we didn't cover.
There's some explosions we didn't cover. Yeah, you can't cover them all. And John Pierre saying stupid stuff was much more thrilling.
More explosive.
It was more explosive. We'll just put it that way. So glad you guys could tune into this week's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. If you did, go ahead and drop us a like, leave us a comment or review. We appreciate it. We love hearing from you guys. This is episode 52. We're past the halfway point to 100, so help us get there. We will be posting new episodes every week, so you can go give us a follow to make sure you see those episodes when they come up. The Green Dragon Podcast on YouTube, Instagram, and True Social, and the Green Dragon Pod on Rumble and Twitter. You can listen to the show everywhere you go on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Like I said, new podcasts every Friday. Go check it out. If you want to go check out our other show and you like good laughs and whiskey, you can go check out the Foolproof Podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, the Foolproof Drinks on Instagram. Till next time. Be safe, fight for what you believe in, and most importantly, be a good American. God bless.